Greetings fellow Arborians, Jadalus here. In this video I'm going to show you the story quest Enemies in the Mist and narrate the dialogue for you, so let's get right into it. Thanks for coming so quickly. Samael has deployed the Justicars, his hand-picked agents to Osgarath. It's the first time he's ever ordered the entire corps to one place. He's up to something, and we're going to find out what. Our fame prevents us from intervening directly, but there are other ways, eh? A recommendation letter? Anything to aid the cause of justice. We'll simply tell Samael that your unique skills are required in Osgarath. Even the general would not be so foolish as to deny requests from Bellic. She doesn't appreciate it when mortals spurn her suggestions. The arc of your career is quite remarkable. We continue to watch with great interest.
So, Sibyl is handling troop deployments now. You'd think praying to Bellic would be a full-time job. She should leave military matters to soldiers. You don't see me kneeling before the Huntress statue every morning, do you? If you're determined to get to Osgarath, though, I won't stop you. Far be it from me to ignore orders from a goddess.
Sibyl remains as subtle as ever. She takes a great interest in the most promising young soldiers. Head to Osgarath and scope out the situation. Talk to the officers in Cutthroat Harbor and find Jelena, if possible. She has a talent for turning up in the most interesting places, eh?
Wait a minute. Something's not right. Aha. A friend of yours?
After speaking with Elion, you fly into Cutthroat Harbor of Osgarath. You then proceed to gather information from the officers there.
You're here to stay, right? We had a whole column of hard-looking soldiers march through here the other day, but they kept right on marching. Orders, they said. Off to Mistmore Island they went. We had placed for the Justicars to go, but who really knows what they do?
Federation this, Federation that, whatever. As far as I'm concerned, the Federation forgot about anyone not actually fighting the Argons. Cutthroat Harbor can... Excuse me, feeling a little woozy. I'm fine, fine. You're heading to Cutthroat Harbor, right? Watch yourself. Everyone there seems tense, especially those sailors who showed up a couple nights ago. Now they were an odd bunch, even for this town.
You're from the Valkion Federation? I was starting to believe that was a myth. I mean, I can tell my children that the Federation will protect us from the slave traders, but they're getting a little too old to find comfort in folk tales. It's all we can do to keep order in the towns. My authority doesn't reach further than the end of my staff. And no, I haven't seen anyone named Jelena. Ever heard of the Kazur Syndicate? Mostly Gulas and Devas working together, and they're paying for information about some kind of relic. Even if I knew something, which I don't, I know better than to deal with a Gula. When they have you for dinner, they have you for dinner, if you know what I mean. Till victory, have you assessed the situation around here? We look into these mysterious sailors. They must be odd indeed to stand out in Cutthroat Harbor. Meanwhile, focus on the Justicars. Coordinate with Jelena. She's looking around the outskirts of the harbor. We must discover what they're after. Samael ordered them here for a reason. If it's good for him, it must be bad for us. Good to see you, Lutrian. Brooke and the Justicars are definitely up to something on Mistmore Island. I've intercepted a number of messengers recently. The messages are encoded, but the sheer volume of them suggests something big. Your job is to check it out firsthand. I'm going to see whether I can make some more interceptions over at the Vindicator base camp. Balaconis will direct you to the island. The Vindicator base camp? It's towards the center of Mistmore Island. You can't miss it, but you might find the road dangerous. The Red Lash pirates are close allies of the Kazur Syndicate and call the island home. Countless dreams die on Mistmore Island. They deal in slaves there. Compassion is, I'm afraid, in short supply. After speaking to all the officers in Cutthroat Harbor, Balaconis directs you to the Vindicator base camp, which is at the center of Mistmore Island. You're to meet up with Jelena there, but he warns you that it will be dangerous, though, as the Red Lash pirates have taken up the island for their own. Well, 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 if it isn't Jelena's biggest fan. I'm not surprised to see you. You turn up more often than a hungry popo. Still, there's no reason you can't be of service to the Justicars. I'm on a little diplomatic mission, shall we say. Why don't you tag along?
What did you say?
It'd be instructive and give you a chance to show off your fighting prowess. Ha! I managed to say it with a straight face. As a wise man once said, you've got to keep your eye on the big picture out there. There are many paths to power, and it's the victor who writes the history scrolls. For example, we occasionally deal with less than desirable elements. It's just business after all. But as long as we get what we want, does it really matter? Walk with me. Keep your weapon handy. Mistmore can get a little rough. After talking with Brooke, you then have to escort him for a little ways along the trail. You run into a few Red Lash pirates along the way, but it's a relatively short F score overall. Once it's finished, you have another chat with Brooke, and then you need to go talk with Perina, who is really Jelena in disguise.
That's close enough. We don't want to make him nervous. I seem to have picked up some extra food along the way.
We coolers know exactly what to do with extra food.
Just make sure it reaches your stew pot, okay?
Don't be alarmed, they're just gulas. We're here for business, not dinner. We're making a deal for a very important relic, and I want you to retrieve it for me. The gulas want to control the setting, so they've chosen a site far away from prying eyes. Use the teleportal. Do what you're told, for once. Something doesn't feel right. It's all too easy. Brooke might well have engineered a trap. Whether we find relics or not, we must quickly find out what the Justicars are up to and make it out of here alive. There's no time to waste. Use the teleportal and get to the rendezvous. I'll scrounge up some help, but until then, you're on your own. Be careful.
After using the teleportal, you are taken to the secret hideout where you're going to meet with the gulas. You find 3 of them in a circle, and your job then is of course to kill them.
Shall we begin?
After the cutscene, you are ambushed by an even greater number of enemies, and eventually Brooke himself shows up. This is essentially the last stage of the quest, as after this, you simply need to speak to Jelena again back at the camp. We're lucky to have made it out of there alive. Now let's take a look at what we retrieved from Brooke. What's this? Samael knew all along. This was a trap. Rather elaborate, too. Samael doesn't seem able to think 3 or 4 moves ahead. We mustn't underestimate him again. Samael will no doubt seek retribution for this. We must hurry. And that concludes the story quest Enemies in the Mist. I know my voice acting isn't the greatest, but hopefully it was at least semi-tolerable for you guys. And if not, well, you can just skip to the combat scenes. Anyway, if you guys like this type of video, I'll make more. If not, I won't. Be sure to leave a comment and be subscribed for a chance to win a beta key for this weekend's beta. And until next we meet, fare thee well.